Hey everybody, Mark Adam here from the WPG Magazine and WPG Sports. It is the weekend wrap-up. We're going to talk Blue Bombers, we're going to talk FC Manitoba, and we're going to do it in that order. The Bombers were in action on Friday against the Ottawa REDBLACKS at IG Field, and it was a pretty entertaining game. I don't care who you were cheering for in that one. That one came down to the wire.
25-yard field goal attempt from Leggio. He's got it right down the middle.
As we just saw there, Leggio pulling it out at the very last second. Well, not technically, I guess 6 seconds left, but it could have very easily ended in heartbreak for Bomber fans, and unfortunately for the Red Black fans, it ended in heartbreak for them. Leading the Bomber charge was Greg Ellingson, who pulled in 6 catches for 74 yards, and he scored his first touchdown wearing Bomber Blue. This is his 9th season. The veteran was on fire for the Bombers on the night. Right on his heels, however, is a guy who played his first game in the CFL, and that would be Dalton Schoen. He pulled in 5 catches for 69 yards. Keep your eye on him coming up throughout this season. After the match, head coach Mike O'Shea was less than impressed with the Bombers' performance despite the win, saying, quote, "I don't think we played particularly well," end quote. And then he went on to point out that they didn't get into much of a rhythm and those sorts of things that coaches are looking for. If that's not the Bombers at their best, good luck to anybody who has to play them this season. And speaking of playing again, the Red Blacks are the unfortunate victims, opponents of the Bombers this Friday in Ottawa. So let's see how that plays out, shall we? Switching gears, let's move on to FC Manitoba, who hosted Peoria City in the USL 2. Due to some rather wet weather here in Winnipeg, the game was actually moved indoors to Winnipeg Soccer Federation North. This means we got to see a USL 2 match with 0 weather as a factor. The roof was a bit of a factor and a weird one. We'll get into that in a minute. Both teams came out of the tunnel with all kinds of game plans and hopes and dreams and all that, and everything went out the window for FC Manitoba throughout the course of this match. It started with them getting scored on just after the first half hour, and then things got weird in the second half. Peoria had a player sent off by a red card, and then a man down managed to score 3 more goals. One of which, a FC Manitoba player happened to be on the bench receiving medical treatment for a wound. He ran into his own player, ended up with a cut, and by rules of FIFA and, safety for players, he had to leave the field in order to stop the bleeding and get that cleaned up before he was allowed to rejoin the match. During that time, a penalty kick was given in the position that player would have been standing, and unfortunately, the goal was scored. Peoria City showed us how good their conditioning was, as even down a man they were able to keep up with FC Manitoba and on counterattacks managed to score a couple extra goals. The final score being 4-1. A bit of a rough day at the office for FC Manitoba. Despite the change of venue, there were quite a few fans that actually made it out, including the youth contingent of FC Manitoba. They were cheering loud and proud despite the less than favorable result. That said, I witnessed a lot of really great play from FC Manitoba on the day. They just didn't get the result. They had a lot of great ball movement, great working around the edges, great attacking opportunities. Issues came with hitting the net at times, a little bit sloppy on some of the shots, and some missed shots where a player would open up, the opportunity was there, that window existed, they would try and take another touch, and really they probably should have just hit it. Going forward, it would be nice to see a few more opportunities taken, and the opportunities that are taken be a little bit more accurate. All in all, FC Manitoba represented themselves well, and Peoria City was actually quite impressed with the organization for how they were hosted and the smoothness of the movement of the game from outdoor to indoor to make sure that the game could be salvaged. I spoke with Michele Paolucci after the match, and he let me know what he thought about playing indoors versus outdoors.
Yeah, for sure it was a different situation, but In the end, it's always a field 11 against 11. So actually, I think with the weather conditions today, it was the best things possible to play inside. And well done to the club that organized this on time. The organization was good, and actually we get some compliments from Peoria for how they get hosted here. So this makes us proud. This first year we are trying to do our best. So I'm happy also about this decision today.
So there you have it from the man himself, 11 on 11. Whether you're playing indoors or outdoors, it's the same for both teams. And everybody seemed pretty happy with the playing indoors. Let's quickly touch on the thing I mentioned earlier, this whole roof situation. Anytime the ball hits the ceiling, the ball is supposed to go back to the player that kicked it, which I think is weird. It really should be drop ball at the point where the ball hits the ceiling. It is not part of the game. It's an obstruction. It was weird. It was just weird. And the referee didn't do what the rules were or what I thought should happen because of the rules that I used growing up. What he did was really random, and sometimes he would throw it back to the players, and sometimes it would be a drop ball. It was really bizarre. But I guess there was some confusion because there are curtains hanging from the ceiling, and if it hits the ceiling, they were doing one thing, and if it hit the curtain, they were doing a different thing. It was really weird. Point is, the referees in the game got it wrong, and hopefully the next time that this happens, hopefully there isn't the next time, but if this happens again, the rules will be followed properly. FC Manitoba's next match is going to be on the 19th of June at the Ralph Contafio Soccer Complex, weather depending of course. We will not be covering that one. We're taking a bit of a break for a week. We'll be back after that, and we will see you next time in the LZ.